But Jon Stewart is coming back to the Daily Show. Everybody is happening. He's only it's happening. It's starting February 12th. This is going down. Jon Stewart said he's coming back. The Daily Show made a whole announcement. He is a new anchor for the Daily Show on Mondays.
There it is.
Every Monday from February 12th up until the election cycle, because they need somebody to run the election cycle. Because again, this is going to be a Biden, Trump, whoever it's going to be. They love doing that shit. And so they want the best person for the job. And they know that he just got fired, or they parted ways at Apple TV Plus for his show. Didn't work out. They were having creative differences. And he walked away from that. He had the itch to do that stuff again. When he walked away from the Daily Show before, he said he was burnt out. He was exhausted from all the hours of doing it. That's why he said he won't do the whole week. And the good thing about this, I will say too, is all the correspondents get a chance to actually run the show Tuesday through Friday. I'm talking about Jordan Klepper. I'm talking about everybody on the show. Desley Leidick. We're talking about Ronnie Chang. We're talking about Michael Costel. We're talking about Dulce Sloan. All these people have a chance to be dual co-anchors, be on the show, kick ass, and have a good time.
It's a great bench. That's a lot. That's a lot of talent.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's deep.
A lot of talent. And it gives them a great opportunity to actually grow and become better at being hosts. And maybe one of them will actually maybe they will transfer to them actually being the host eventually. And Jon Stewart will be executive producing the whole show. He'll start the week off. He'll get all the news going. And I guarantee he's going to pop in more because he is executive producing. It gives him a chance to be a part of the show again, help it grow to the next phase, and also be a part of the process to make the show survive after Trevor Noah left. They had a hard time figuring out. Cal Pennigan was supposed to do it, but it didn't happen. So now we have Jon Stewart coming back. It's great, I think, for that show. He built that show. He made that show what it is, if you ask me. He was a big figure for that, and he changed how they did comedy and news, which is what we do here. So it's very much, he set a path forward that a lot of people have fucking jumped into, and I think it's great, and I think that he will do a good job, and I hope that he does pop in more. But I think that it's weird because overall, like, they were looking for somebody new, but again, maybe this is what they need. It's an election cycle. They're looking for the best person for the job. He might be the best man for the job, and he is coming back. And I cannot wait to see what happens starting February 12th. And I hope it's good. I really do hope it's good, because this is crazy. It's crazy news. It dropped today, and I was just like shocked by it. I'm like, is this really fucking happening? This is really fucking happening? He's coming back? But what do we think about this, honestly? Because this is big news for Comedy Central. It's big news for the news in general. It's big news for everything. How do we feel about this? Sabrina, hear about this. I'm going to you first on this shit. I know you love Jon Stewart. I know, honestly, it seems like you're shocked by this news too. Do you think this is a good idea for him to come back to Comedy Central or run this show again, or should they have led to somebody else and gave him somebody else an opportunity?
I was kind of annoyed at them for not giving any of the people who worked on the show for the duration of the show with Trevor Noah the chance to host it. So that was kind of annoying for me. So when they were going to go with Cal Penn, I'm not that he did a bad job. I think he did actually quite a good job. But I think that any one of those other people that had been there and busting their ass, like, could have also done a great job. So I was a little bit annoyed at that. This seems for me a little bit more palatable because again, first of all, it's Jon Stewart, so and of course he's very into politics. He's very he did that whole thing for veterans like a while back, and he's very, very involved in that sort of thing. So I think with it being an election cycle, this is a smart choice. I think that with it being on just Mondays, and then the people who are, been there and who have been doing the work and have been out in the field, are going to get chances, going to get their chances, basically to kind of do another run at, I guess, auditioning to see who's going to actually take it over once the election cycle's over. So I kind of feel like I hate you so much. I kind of feel like it's good for the show in general. It's definitely good for the people who work on the show that were passed over. I think that there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things that could happen. And I like giving him a platform because he's a very strong voice. He's very funny, and he, I feel like he fights for the right thing. So I'm happy to give him a platform, his platform, to be fair, and I'm happy to give everyone else on that show. I'm happy to give everyone else on that show a platform, to try to take the reins once this election cycle's over. So I think overall it's definitely a good thing.
How about that correspondence thing, though, Sabrina? That's huge for them. Because, again, they've been going back and forth. I mean, we talked about Woods walking away, Roy Woods Jr. walking away because he didn't have opportunity. Yeah. And it's like, I think that he should have stuck around longer. It gives these people more opportunity to actually grow and harness their craft. I feel like this is a way of branching that, you know? And then maybe one of these correspondents, like Jordan Klepper or someone, will get a chance to actually shine in both. And everybody, does he too? It's fucking be good. Couldn't it be good?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, and also, by the way, Jordan Klepper, I would hate to see him behind a desk hosting the show because he is so fucking funny out in the field.
He's so good with people.
He already had his own show, guys.
He does a podcast, right? And it's great, but.
No, when they were trying to make him, like, position him as the heir of the throne, they gave him the opposition with Jordan Klepper, right? It was kind of like our generation's Colbert Report after Daily Show. It was Daily Show and then the opposition. It's disappointing to see what has become of the Daily Show. They haven't had a regular host since Trevor Noah left in 2022. And they couldn't get their shit together. They didn't feel like either.
There were a lot of good hosts, though.
There were, but they were also like fill-in hosts, right? And they were more concerned about the fill-in host of getting a good soundbite than they were of like making the show better, right? Like they came in, they did their shit, and they went. Like there was no consistency. The only people who were consistent were the correspondents, which to me leads with, why would you not put the trust in the people that have seen the ship through the, most uneasy of waters, if you will. I thought this was really a disappointment. I mean, I'm a big Jon Stewart fan. I think I watch, it's shitty to say, but I think of Jon Stewart. I think of 9/11. His 9/11 show that he did was one of the best television moments I think I've ever experienced as a young child. And he helped me through that, processing those emotions and making me understand that shit. This is expected. I understand what they're trying to do here. He's not doing anything because the problem got canceled over at Apple. Yeah. But the Daily Show has been running on fumes for 5 years, or at least 5 or 6 years. And Trevor Noah, he had a lot of opportunity, and I feel like he did push the show as much as he could. But I definitely think a lot of either Comedy Central execs kind of got in the way or whatever, but it's just sad. It's sad to see the current state of affair. They've got great talent being underutilized or used incorrectly. And I hope it gets righted the ship. But all this means is I'll tune in Monday. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Do you see a world where he would maybe get that itch and then stick around, or do you think that because he did say he made a whole announcement my last phase of my career? Do you think that maybe he would just do this and then it's his swan song and he's done, or do you think that he'll be like, oh, this is fucking great, and then Comedy Central this is what we got to keep doing?
To me, this feels like he's kind of doing a favor for them. He doesn't need to do this. The work and how he's transformed his career as the occasional person that shows up on the Colbert Report, or all of his work fighting for first responders' rights and benefits. It's amazing.
Really good fucking causes. He really fucking does.
Well, he's committed and he cares and he's passionate, and he's really turned just the idea of being informed and smart and not necessarily leaning to the right of the political scale as something to not feel sheepish about, which I appreciated how his comedy and his just his whole persona have kind of evolved. I do remember the days when it was Craig Kilborn. I love the fact that name popped up in the chat about the Daily Show. I remember those days very well. The Daily Show was completely different under him, and Jon Stewart took it over. Invested very heavily on good, solid talent that went on to do amazing, wonderful things.
Everything,
Steve Carell, everything. I mean, it's just amazing when you consider the caliber of comedic talent that came from the Daily Show during the Jon Stewart years, what it is now, and what it could become if run the right way.
Yeah, I'm excited about
what's his name? The guy from The Office. Oh my God, I can't believe
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, thank you. Also started on the fucking Daily Show. It was a really, it was a really, it was a serious place where a lot of amazing comedians started, and Craig Kilborn, by the way, is a POS. Fuck himself. But Trevor Noah, again, like he was like this young guy that was like, completely unknown, and like, came in and it was like also like the pandemic kind of happened, and he had this whole like Trump, I think he did a good job with what he was given, and he was given the reins like after a legend essentially, and I think he did a really good job with it.
To fill.
Impossible shoes to fill. Even if he had 100% control of what that show was, Trevor Noah understood what he was getting into when he did it. And he's written several great books that I highly recommend, talking about his career and his thoughts. Really good stand-up. Great stand-up specials.
It's fucking funny.
And like I love your comment, Sabrina, because like I feel like had the pandemic not happened, I feel like we would have gotten to see more of that evolution and influence put on the Daily Show, and it probably would have survived, been bigger than when Trevor Noah.
Yeah, be a different thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, not to cut you off, Sabrina, you had something to say? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I was just going to say also Jordan Klepper, like with all the election, like I
fingers
can't
the
wait
pulse.
To see
it's the greatness. Yeah.
I can't wait to see Jon Stewart and Jordan Klepper in the field. Like I can't. I think it's going to be
fucking awesome. It'd be fucking awesome.
Jordan Klepper is. I never watched the show that you were talking about, Sean. I didn't even know about it, but
you guys
do a podcast that I've heard here and here. Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
But I every time, like I literally one day spent an entire day on YouTube just watching him interview people in the field, like during election.
He's great.
He is so quick-witted. The shit he comes up with on the spot immediately. It's unparalleled. People don't even have time to think of it. They're like, yeah, I'm a fucking moron. And I'm like, yep, you just nailed it. Like it
totally said that. You totally fucking just threw yourself on the bridge.
So fucking good. He's like, well, the math doesn't add up on your shirt, bro. Like, it's like literally.
The math stuff is funny.
He's amazing. He's amazing, and I can't wait to see those two together. I think it's gonna be good.
I think
I'm not surprised you don't know about the.
Time.
I'm not surprised you knew about the opposition. Apparently, it wasn't even on for a year. They canceled it. They canceled it June 2018. And it started in September of 2017. So it didn't even get a year.
The thing, David Banner, really quickly, like I understand what you're saying. Like I don't watch the news anymore. So for me, where I get my news, like it's just too much for me. So where I get my news, I prefer to get it with doses of laughter.
With comedy.
You know what I mean?
With comedy.
So like I like to watch Stephen Colbert's monologue. I like to watch Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. I like to, see a little snippet of the Daily Show or Jordan Klepper in the field. Like I'm not going to sit down and watch Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. Like I just can't do it anymore. So for me,
it's too much.
To have it served to me. It's like when you give a kid a pill and a spoonful of applesauce. Like that's how I kind of.
Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, Sabrina.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
To be quite frank, Jon Stewart, I believe even still has much more credibility than any really media outlet that you can name, I think.
I think so too, Mike. So Mike, do you think that this is a good idea? You think that's a good idea for him to come back and helm the show and bring it back to its roots and reshape it, regroup it, and make it maybe adding some old tastes, some new tastes? Or do you think that they should have just got a new person like Hal Penn to take over?
Let me get selfish for you on myself for a minute, Brian.
You get selfish, man. You get selfish.
I think that we need as much Jon Stewart as we can get. I'm happy to see him stepping away from Apple over disagreements about what he can say when they're important things. Because he's working for a company that is making decisions that shape the world in very profound ways, and it's really important that he doesn't have his hands tied when he's doing that. So the fact that he shows his ethics with that is great. But the reason I'm being selfish is because I want more of him. So the fact that he's saying, I'll do Mondays, that he's reducing his role a little bit so that he can give us more of him, I think that's great. Like, take care of yourself, King. Like, that's something that you can do in retirement for forever. I think that's really smart for him to back off. And then I honestly can see him being able to, because we're talking a lot about the incubation tank that was the Daily Show, and how that really seemed like it could have taken off if it weren't, or in the later stages, if it weren't for what happened with COVID. So I can see a future where Jon Stewart is able to have, just that softer touch, that guiding hand on on editorial decisions that are being made within the Daily Show, and just kind of having his presence around to make give everybody that much more focus. And honestly, just to feed off of his freaking ethical strength and perseverance. Like, I want more of him. And I it's not, none of this is to hate on Trevor Noah. I watched a handful of Trevor Noah episodes. I was a Kilborn fan back in the day. I was like, who is this Stewart guy? It's interesting to hear that he's a schmuck. So I'll have to look into that. I definitely don't support Kilborn if he's being a hateful mofo.
Douche.
Any way that I can get him, I'm happy to have him. I think we need him really bad.
I think this is a great platform for him too, and I think this makes sense for him to come back to it. And honestly, when I heard this news, I was just like, oh, this makes the most fucking sense. He's always been the best when it comes to the political scene. They want him for the election cycle, and they've been having such a hard time finding the right person to fucking fill those shoes. Let's give them another year, give their correspondents more opportunity and time to harness their skills, get out there, do their thing, and it also gives Jon Stewart a kind of a transition period he never got before. He just kind of left, he was burnt out before. So yes, I agree with Sean too, though. It's like we could have done something else. We could have done, Jon Stewart could have done something else. But I think that for Comedy Central in general, I think this makes sense for them to find a new person in this time, and he can be that leading man. He'd be executive producer. Maybe he'll be more of a behind the scenes person too as we move forward with Comedy Central's Daily Show, and maybe he will be, build that in and help it grow to where it can be a show that's not a disappointment.
Hassan Minhaj messed up. I think he was totally ready. They were gonna pop him right in. It was ready to happen.
Agree.
Can't exaggerate, apparently, even on the comic stage. Not about something that's like socially relevant like that. I'm just reading the fucking headlines. What do I know anyway?
Yeah, I know.
Comedy used to like everything was on limits for comedy, but it's no
a story,
that
right?
way.
Yeah.
It's no longer that way.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
really
God forbid, you say, and unless you address it in a way that is.
Although he was a news figure though too. He wasn't like a straight comedian, so I can see people getting confused.
Totally different. Totally different. I mean, not totally 100%. Different, but like because it's both. You know what I mean? Like if like even in a situation where you're on like a network show, like whether it's the Daily Show, or you're doing a monologue on Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, like if you say the wrong thing and it's network television. You know what I mean? Like if you're
scared
on
the execs
TV,
is what he did. The execs didn't want to touch it.
Yep, that's the thing. But if you're in a comedy club and you're saying shit, whatever shit may be, if you are not if comedy you don't do it the right way and you don't have the right clout, like the thing is, I
agree with you. I feel you, Sabrina, but I'm responding to comedy is dead. Comedy is not dead.
I'm saying comedy is dead because we have George Carlin as a dead person doing comedy. So comedy is dead. I want to cut Sabrina off. That's what I was thinking. Comedy is dead right now.
No, you're fine. So, George Carlin.
You got to lock up those phones.
Like literally the most gifted and like timeless. Like you can play almost any of his sketches or his stand-ups, currently, and they make fucking sense. Like he was so smart, so relevant, so aware of what was going on in the world. Like I don't think Richard Pryor, also another fucking great. But I feel
doing AI with him too.
I can't wait
I feel like George Carlin is like in 20 years you could still play any stand-up by George Carlin and it will be relatable. Like it is kind of amazing how ahead of his time, how with his time, how before his time. Like he's just, it's like he floats through time. When he was in Dogma, I was like, this is so appropriate because he is like literally like for me a deity. Like I don't understand how more people aren't aware of how great he is. And if anyone
he was a mainstream comedian and then he ate a bunch of mescaline and went like 180 counterculture.
Done. But honestly, everybody,
anything he did is still fucking relevant. Comedy is definitely not dead. It's amazing. Like it got kind of a muffle put on it because people are afraid to say things because they're afraid to get in trouble, which is why I stick up for Zach in the chat all the time. Because he's a comedian, he's a stand-up comedian. The comedians make jokes. Sometimes they don't land. Sometimes you don't like them. Sometimes I don't like them. But that doesn't mean that it's not, funny to some or whatever. And like you have to like kind of place relevance when you choose, and not here, I'm just saying, but when you choose to sit down in a show where you're listening to a stand-up comedian, you have to know that you're not going to like every fucking joke, right? I mean, and if you do, you're really fucking lucky. But like it is. Yeah, man.
It's not about the individuals though. It's about the advertisers. It's about the risks that the advertisers are willing to accept.
The stakeholders, the shareholders, or whatever, right?
The taxpayers, the condo drivers. I don't know. It's not gonna be them. But
no, I'm just speaking personally. Like as why people get canceled because like someone gets mad and then there's a whole Twitter war and they're like, oh my god, he said this, and then you know what I mean. Like I'm just saying. It's all fucking it's all give it to you. Whatever. Twitter, X, I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. I don't even go on anymore. I used to be on Twitter. X can fuck himself.
But the thing is, though, Jon Stewart is coming back to The Daily Show. The comedy scene is changing. We do have AI shit happening, but Jon Stewart, I think, is a human being alive that's maybe at the end of his career, but maybe not. Maybe this is a new fucking chapter that he will help move into executive producing and make The Daily Show a better show than it has been for years. But he is coming back on Monday, starting February 12th. And if you're excited about it, let us know. Chat in the chat. Let us know. Give us some fucking feedback because he's coming back. The Daily Show is going to be hosted by Jon Stewart once again for one more year. And after that, we'll see what happens.
Yo, player, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the pep star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.